So good morning, everybody. This is Anshi, and for today's yoga practice, it's going to be all about self-care and releasing stress. So today is Wednesday, November 4th, 2020, and I wanted to share a practice that I love for stress reduction. So we're going to come up to standing, and for today's class you'll just need the usual props. We're going to come down and do more traditional yoga poses, so you can grab your blocks, grab your blankets, but we're going to start first just in standing, and you can place a hand on your heart and a hand on your belly. And if it feels comfortable to close the eyes so that you can feel your hands better, you can do that. Or you can just look down and just feel this connection with your hands and your heart, your belly. And take some breaths. Inhale through the nose and exhale nice and slow through the mouth for at least 3 rounds. And you can start to sway side to side as you do this. So just adding in a little gentle movement so that you're not, holding any rigidity. And just notice the first check-in. Notice what it feels like in your physical body right now. And then we're going to take the hands and massage into the temples, massage into the face, the jaw, and it's your exploration in terms of where you hold tension in your face. And as you do this, you can start to yawn. And then again, don't stay still, so make little movements, just wiggle, shift. And then, so part of the nervous system, we're familiar with the traditional model of fight or flight or freeze. So those are the main stress responses that were first discovered. So either fighting, getting angry, getting pissed off, or disengaging and freezing and not voting, for example. But there's a lot more research that is showing that there's another way, and the other way is connection. So another way that we deal with stress is through connecting, through social engagement. And one of physiologically, those nerves of social engagement are all in the face. Yeah. So massaging the face can help to unglue some of those stuck responses. So you can just soften, loosen up the face, and then again keep moving. Don't stay rigid. Start to shift. Massage your neck, and then try this thing. It's called the horse breath. It just helps to loosen up tension in the mouth. So you go. It's silly, and but it's a great way to just soften the tension in all those facial muscles. Yeah. So it's kind of like a baby, and I'll mute all of us so that we don't overwhelm the sound, but feel free to make that sound. So relaxing your face. Yeah. And then start to massage your scalp, your hair, your head. And I like to pull gently to stimulate all those follicles. So for those of you who just arrived, we're starting out with a practice for stress reduction, stress management. And it incorporates a lot of the latest science on the vagus nerve. Good. If you feel like making like sounds, vowel sounds, you know, throw it in there. Hopefully nobody else in the house freaks out. Good. And so continue that massage through your head and then down into your neck, into your shoulders, into your arms. And then start to tap your arms. Tap and keep shifting, and then add in shaking your arms. So it's very much an intuitive practice. It's just something that, you know, as cultured beings, we've lost touch with this natural response. But as you engage in it, just listen to your body. If you feel like, okay, now I want to shake this, or I want to, you know, take some other movement, feel free to do that, okay? So we're starting to come into that shaking, and I'm kind of doing a little bounce. I'm tapping into the hips. And the big sighs are helpful. And, you know, you can crank up some music that you like. Tapping down into the legs. And you can shake, you know, you can like kick out a leg, shake it, shake the ankle, move around the knees. You can do this kind of shaking motion. So just kind of discover your own way of shaking your bones. I like the little bounce method as well. And then just shaking the whole body. Along with continuing to relax the face. So it's connected to all those cranial nerves that feed into that connection response that we need in order to stay grounded, to stay safe in the nervous system. Okay, and then last 30 seconds, just shake as vigorously as you can. So just like as much as you can. And then come to stillness. And you might feel, you know, things bubble up, like some of those layers of stress releasing, so there might be emotion. And just let it be. So you can shift into that place of witness. And just let any emotions that are discharging, just let them go. And just notice how you feel after that practice. Can you feel your feet a little bit better? Can you feel your breath a little bit more fluid? And we'll take the hands to the heart. And as you inhale, you can sweep your arms out and reach up. And then as you exhale, you can have the knees soft and you can hinge from the hips and you can fold down. If your back is tight right now, take your hands on your legs and slide down. So come into your forward fold. And you could stay here and just shift side to side, loosen up the hips. Take, again, those exaggerated sighs through the mouth. You can move the head, turning side side to side. And then put your hands on your shins and push and come halfway up with your body. Can you sense your belly turning on? Can you sense your feet lifting and engaging? And then fold again as you exhale. Inhale, push and lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold and relax your spine. Next inhale, lift your arms out, lift all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay. So you're facing the front of your mat. You can grab a couple of blocks. Yeah. And then same thing, we'll lift up again. And then as you exhale, you can find your forward fold. You can reach, you can bend your knees more, and then you can step back. So stretching your back out through your downward dog. And bend your knees if you need to get more of the stretch in the spine first. And then straighten your knees and get the stretch into your legs. And then find that happy medium where you're long in your back. And maybe you're not completely straight in the leg, but you're getting, a stretch through your back body. And then we'll slowly lower the knees down, extend the spine, and then round and move back, child's pose. Keep your elbows down, you can look forward, pull, and move forward, and extend the spine. Push, round the spine, and move back towards your child's pose. So today's practice and intention is just to move really slowly, get the spine moving, get the joints moving. It's more about calming the nervous system, releasing stress. Good. And then next time when you go back, shift your hips over to your right side and just notice how that changes the sensation for your body. And then go forward again. And then when you go back, shift your hips back over to the left. So changing where you feel stretch. Getting more of a side bend. And after maybe about 3 times shifting over to the side, you can go into a complete circle with your hips. So swinging it all the way through a complete circle. You can play with the width of the knees. So I was having my knees in line with my hips and I didn't really feel that much of a stretch through the circle, so I'm widening now to see if that changes anything. And as you move, you can become aware of your neck and how you're holding your neck. Like, if you're holding it down like this the whole time, what would it feel like if you also had it, neutral? Or is your tendency to kind of look at the screen the whole time like this, and does that cause strain in your neck? How can you adjust so that you're more neutral and your neck feels comfortable? And go the other way. Okay. Next time when you come back, touch your big toes together and sit down towards your heels. Push the floor to deepen that contact between your bum and your heels or thereabouts. And then stretch your back out, lower your forehead down. take 3 breaths here in extended child's pose. Notice what it feels like to have your forehead supported, and shift your attention into feeling your breathing, feeling your body in this moment. Walk your hands now over to your right side, and then bend your right elbow and rest your left ear on your left arm. You can choose to keep the arm down, or you can kind of lift it up so that you're stretching through it a little bit more. And then push the floor away with your right arm. Breathe into here. And then walk your hands over to the other side, and same thing. You can have the head on the right arm, and you can push the floor away with your left arm, and it just kind of deepens the stretch through the side of the body. Good. We'll slowly walk ourselves back through center, and then you can pull to move forward. And from here, we'll get some movement into the hips. So we'll come back onto all fours, and you can choose to, change the load on your wrist by using blocks instead of just straight down. Okay. Lift your right knee, just hover it off of the floor. Can you feel your belly draw in? Keep that, and then pull the knee forward and let your spine round. And then open the leg out to the side, turn it internally, and move it back. And then pull it back forward. So you're trying to make a circle, basically, from this hip socket. And you're trying to break the range of motion down so that you can engage more of your hip muscles. Okay, so that's the only reason why we break it down. So forward, out to the side, turn, swing back, swing forward. Okay. And then go the other way, back, turn out, pull out to the side, pull forward. And explore your hip circumduction, which is just a fancy anatomical word for moving a joint in a circle. Next time when you have the leg out like this, drop the foot down, come into like a lunge position, swivel your left foot under your seat, and sit into a half primal squat. And then, you can use blocks. You can have a little, so let's have the hands down first, and you just can explore lifting up higher and lowering down, seeing how that feels for your body. And if that's comfortable, you can choose to omit the hands and come up and down from a low half primal squat into a high half primal squat. Another variation is sometimes when the foot is turned like this, it might not feel as comfortable for some knees. So you could swivel the foot a little bit, back. So you find your variation that feels comfortable in your joints, okay? Good. And then we come back into all fours, lower that knee down, and just take a little pause. Stretch back and feel into your right hip, into your left hip. Good. And then we do the second side. So you're on all fours. You try not to shift the hips over to the right too much. Just try to keep the right hip over the right knee, but lift that left knee off of the floor so you feel your belly turn on. And then pull forward, let your spine round. Lift the thigh out, let your spine come back to neutral. Turn internally, and then just try to swing that knee behind you. And then back forward, spinal flexion, out, internal, and straight back. Okay, continue with your hips circling. So when you round your spine, you can let your head go down. And then when you move through the other ranges, you can have your neck neutral. And then reverse your circling. Out, back, turn out, pull out to the side, and pull forward. And this hip might be a little different than the other one. How can you modify the movement so it works on this side? So I'm noticing a little twinge muscularly, and so I'm going to not raise the knee as high so that I can move without pain. Good. And then next time when the leg is out, step the foot down, lunge position. You can find your half primal squat. So you might swivel the right foot in a little bit under your seat. Adjust your stance so that it works for your body. And then explore lifting up and lowering down. And how, just seeing how that feels in the knees. And maybe having to adjust the foot a little bit to accommodate your knee. And then rising up without the hands if that works. And coming back down. Push, exhale to go up, inhale to come down. Good, and then next time when you're down, you can stretch your hands forward again, shift forward, step back, and this time you can go back again towards child's pose to feel into the hips. And then we'll transition all the way up back into downward dog. Okay, you can walk your dog here. Walk your left foot in between your hands and raise your right leg up. From here, hip circles with the legs straight. Just 3 in one direction, nice and slow. So not you don't have to do a lot of repetitions. And then 3 in the other direction. And if leg straight doesn't work, you can also modify and bend the knee. Okay, less torque, less force when the knees are bent. And then after going in both directions, lift that leg straight back and draw your knee forward, round your spine. Take a breath here and then step forward, extend your spine, and then lower that back knee down. You can relax the back toes down and lift up into a low lunge position. Good, and we'll take the hands down to the heart. And just land here and check in with your breath here. So I'll turn around and I'll switch so that I'm mirroring you. Okay. On the next inhale, you can reach back up. And then on the exhale, you can fold. And then from here, Shift back, straighten out the front leg. Shift forward, bend the front leg. Well, just a gentle, mindful way of stretching through your front leg. Notice what happens to your front foot as you go back. Is there a tendency maybe to turn it in or turn it out? And what would it feel like if you kept the weight balanced on the heel? And then next time when you have the leg more straight, you can, ground your hands down with blocks or no blocks, and then turn out the leg, and then turn in. And just notice how that, changes the sensations in the hip, in the back of the hamstrings. Okay. Come back to center, so your thigh is neutral. Walk your hands to the outside of your leg and try to place the arms, the hands, so that they're wide, and you can kind of, have your hands underneath your shoulders, okay? So you're shifting the stretch to the outside seam of your leg. You can stay here. You can pretend like you're trying to lift your front leg up. And notice when you do that, how it turns on your side belly muscles. And keep pretending like you want to do that. And then also notice how it protracts your scapula. Keep looking down as you do that. And you can also actually lift it up. Your choice. And then we'll slowly lower that leg. Walk the hands to frame the front leg. Bend that knee. And then this time, pull and lengthen your spine. So lengthen your spine. And then reach with your right arm, reach forward. And then lift up and turn towards your front leg. So there's a twist. You can stay here if you're more flexible. You could, do the prayer position. You can have one hand down, one hand up. So your variation. Okay. And then reach that right hand down towards your hip, all the way back on your block. And then you can step back, come back into downward dog, and we'll add in a little push-pull from the squat dog plank. So now squat your dog, bend your knees, lengthen your spine, and then push and move forward towards plank, and then push with the hands and come back towards squat dog. So 5 times. Moving towards squat and plank. Variation is to do this with the knees down as well. Less load on the shoulders. Okay, when you're done with 5 rounds, come back to your down dog, and then we'll have the right foot in between the hands, and we'll lift the left leg. So your choice, 3 circles, leg long or leg knee bent. And do it in both directions. And you're just exploring your stability. Yeah, focus on the movement from the hip rather than the ankle. And then once you're done with all 6, lift the leg straight back behind you. Nice. And then slowly pull the knee forward towards your nose. Let your stay. Take a breath here. Lift your back heel more so that you have clearance to step this left foot forward. Okay. Once you have that foot down, lower the back knee, lower the back toes, and stabilize from the outer hip so that when you lift up, you feel steady. So you're squeezing the outer hips in. And then we can come back down with hands on the heart. And just landing into this pose and just checking in stillness here. Take some breaths into the heart space, both front and back and sides. So circumferential breath through the whole rib basket. And slowing down that exhale. Good. When you're ready to, you can lift up again. And as you fold, you can take the hands to the blocks and straighten out your front leg. And explore. Shifting forward, bending that front knee. Shifting back, straightening that front knee. And just notice if you're able to keep your hips, level, or is it a tendency to shift the hips side to side as you go? How can you keep the hips more level as you move through just the knee bending? And then are you neutral with the ankle as well on the front, or is there a little torsion to that joint? So how can you be neutral in that ankle as well? Next time, when the leg is more straight, you can, set the blocks higher to be more stable. And then you can turn the leg out, turn the leg in. And can you notice, as you turn the leg in and out, that your belly muscles draw in? So because this is kind of unstable, right? It has to move. This part of the body upstream automatically has to stabilize. Good. And then neutral with the leg now. And then move your blocks to the outside. Good. Have the blocks wide so it's very stable for you. And I have to move, if the leg is too far out like this, it's going to be hard. So you got to move it in line with the hip. And then push down with the hands as if lift the front leg up. Turn on your obliques. Stay here, or actually lift the leg up if you have that strength. Doesn't matter either way, you get the work. Whew. Take another breath like that. And then release, trying to lift that leg up. And frame your front foot again. Bend that knee. Take your focus to your spine now. Pull with your hands to lengthen your spine. And then reach with your left hand to lengthen your spine some more. And then turn to the front leg. You can modify the arms for your body. So it could be reaching back. That could be a nice stretch. Could be even resting on your low back. Take another breath here. And then swing that arm all the way through, hand on that block. Pick up the blocks to the highest setting. Curl your back toes under. You might have to adjust your stance. We're going to step forward. So, shift the blocks forward, shift and step. Forward, forward fold. And take another couple of breaths here in this forward fold. Check in with yourself. Feel your breath now. Feel the quality of your physical body now.
press through the feet. Knees start out as a little bent. Press down and lift all the way up. And then hands back, and you could place it in prayer, or you can place it like we did at the beginning, hands at the, one on the heart, one at the belly. And just notice how you feel after moving a little bit more. So life is movement. Yeah, so that's a big part of what keeps us healthy is moving and putting different loads on our cells to keep them efficient. And notice what your nervous system feels like as well. Okay. From here, you can widen your feet. So we'll do some squat climbers, squats as well. So as you inhale, you can find your first squat. So taking your hips back, bending your knees, and then push. Rising up and coming down. Find your own pace. You can progress by lifting your heels up as well, so a little challenge on your calves, and lowering down. Whoa. And next time when you come down, we're going to shift the weight as we come up onto the right side. So shift and then try to balance on the right leg. You can touch the toes on the left down, or you can lift that foot. And then if you look at, you can stay here, or you can look at that right hand, and that makes it a little bit more challenging on the balance. And then you'll feel your back muscles work more. Okay, so right shoulder, left booty, and then land softly, ball of the foot, heel, squat, shift over to the other side, and you can stay here. You can look at that top hand and contract those muscles between the glutes and the opposite shoulder more, and then lower, softly, squat, and shift, squat, climber, a little bit of a balance, and then lower down. Yeah. So once you get used to it, you can add in looking at that hand, contracting bum and shoulder towards each other, and coming down. Continue with that drill. You can progress by tapping hand to foot. So adding in a little bit more contraction through that back body. Contralateral seam. Good. And then next progression is we'll also do the front side. So you can come back up, tap through the back, and then cross through the front. And you can vary. You can have the toes down as a variation as well, or the leg up. Okay? And then open up, land softly, squat. You can also choose in between instead of going side to side right away. Maybe it feels better for you to like do 3 squats in between so that you're activating all the hips evenly, and then you come into your balance on the other side. So I think I'm going to suggest doing it that way, because sometimes when we balance on one side we tend to tighten up. So when we go in the middle, it's helpful to just release that over contraction by doing 3 in the middle with both legs working. and then go at your own pace. And for those of you who've been, practicing yoga for a while, if you feel inspired to, as you come into these balances, you could stay and, it's like, oh, I want to come into a more of a yoga pose for a little bit. And that's great. So I encourage your creativity and adapting to what your body wants and what your body needs. Okay, so one more round on either side. So I started to the front first because we're much more used to doing everything on the front of the body. Woo. Good, and then when you finish the last side, come back down, take another, just check in, notice your heart's pace, your breath's pace. And then start to slow your breathing down. So slow it to 4 seconds on inhalation, 4 seconds on exhalation. When you finish the round of breath that you're on, you can let go of the count, and then on your inhale, you can lift back up. And we'll come back down into that forward fold, and you're at the front of your mat again. And now you can step your right leg back, so I'm going to mirror. And then this time, so this time you can curl the toes under in the back foot, and let your front knee just shift forward in a comfortable amount, and then start to lengthen your back leg. Try to push your back heel towards the back wall and see if that lengthens your thigh towards the back wall as well. Keep that and pretend like you're trying to lift the back. You're not popping it up, but pretend like as you lengthen the back leg, that knee lifts gently off of the floor. You can stay there and just keep that action of lengthening and feeling that knee maybe lightening off the floor a little bit, or maybe you can actually let that knee lengthen up. Okay, so it's not push the knee up, but it's a lengthen the leg so that the knee goes up. Okay, so it's a pretty good stretch through that front hip. And progression is, if you're not feeling anything, you can lift the arms off of the blocks. Now you can slowly lower that back knee down. And we can switch sides, so a couple of ways. You could just switch by stepping back, stepping forward. If you're up for it, you can also do a jump switch, so with the blocks, you can just jump back. Okay, second side. Curl the toes under, let the front knee relax forward without, jutting the hip forward, okay? And then start to lengthen through the back leg. So push the heel towards the wall and feel that elongation. And then see if you can feel more light in the knee, like it's gonna lift off of the floor. Stay there, or actually let that knee elongate and hover. But the hip isn't going up, it's just an elongation. Okay, another breath here. And then with control, if you have that knee up, slowly lower it down. Okay. And we'll slowly step back this time. Swivel the feet out to one side, lower down. Okay. And then you can take the legs forward and you can shake side to side. Good. And then land into deer and take your hands over to the right side and you could push and pull. It's a little spinal movement. And then we're going to come down. You can use a block underneath your right ribs or a blanket. It's softer. So you're coming down and you're taking kind of a forward fold, but it's the right side of the ribs that you want to support. So it gives you feedback with your breath. And then as you stay here, support the point between your eyebrows with your forearms, back of your hands or fists. And let the breath fully expand into the rib basket. And slow your exhalation down. Long, smooth exhale. Take another breath here. Slowly support yourself out of this first side of the sleeping deer, and you can come back to windshield wipers. And then eventually you can make your way over to the second side, so you can drop your knees over to your left side. You can take your hands over to that side and get a little spinal flexion and extension. And then coming down when you're ready. And so this one's a variation. Sometimes we side lie to stretch the ribs. This one, it's more of a forward fold, so you can, support your rib basket with a blanket, with a block. So you can prop it up. You can even have a bolster and be like that on a bolster. So whatever it takes to support your body. And it's a forward fold with a little contact of the ribs with some prop. So you have feedback for your breathing. And just feel the natural cadence of your breath through the side of your rib basket. Breathe through your nose. And let your exhale extend and become even longer than your inhale. and you feel like you've spent an even amount of time on this side as the first side, go ahead and slowly come out. And we're going to make our way onto the back. We'll do one more releasing thing. So it's kind of a shake, but we're going to be lying down. And so as you do this shake, it's going to start from this kind of push action from your feet. Okay, so you're gonna push your feet down and let it bounce back. And we're gonna do this for about a minute. And what it does is it helps to release some of this really deep hip muscle that's connected to our nervous system. But you want to do it lying down, not sitting up like I am. And so it's a rhythmic motion. You're pushing through the feet and then letting the feet bounce back up. And let that rock basically the whole body. And as you continue, come back to those sides. And remember how we were really practicing like softening our face and our jaw and the eyes, so you can, massage through the mouth, the face, and just really consciously relax the facial muscles. Good, so 10 more seconds. And then release that pedaling and shake your legs the other, just, in and out for a little bit as well. And then let go and just drop into stillness. You can put the hands over the front of your hips. So touch is another way that activates that part of our nervous system, that tend and befriend response. And notice the feeling of your hands touching the front of your hips, right in the ASIS bones. And see if you can feel your natural breath flowing down into this place in the front of your hips, into your belly, into your low back. Relaxing any gripping around the eyes. So let go of any focusing in the pupils. And allow all those muscles that can move the eyeballs, allow them to soften. And imagine your eyeballs sinking more into the sockets. And follow the optic nerves from the eyeballs into the cranium or into the brain, so into the deep back of the brain. And allow the frontal lobe to soften and recede away from the skull bone. Softening tension in the scalp, the head, the ears, the outer lobes of the ears, as well as the insides of the ears. Relax the jaw, the tongue. Relax the throat. Relax the shoulders and allow the collarbones to soften and float away from each other and down towards the floor.
soften around the sternum and all around the rib basket. Soften in your respiratory diaphragm inside the rib basket. Soften the belly, the low back. Relax in the groin and the inner thighs. Relax the glutes, the hamstrings, the quads. And just allow your legs to just flow out from the hips and let them rest fully on the floor. And feeling the weight of the heels. Watch your body breathe for 3 more rounds here. And when you're ready, you can introduce little movements. And if you have your eyes closed, you can softly open the eyes and just take in the room. And you can make your way, step by step to the side and then in a comfortable seat. Once you're there, you can maybe move closer to your camera